Hello and welcome to the Luv Doc podcast with hosts Waldo Wachewski and Ophelia Brewski.
Okay, so we've probably all felt it, right? That feeling of being stuck, maybe staring at a spreadsheet, dreaming of just escaping the whole corporate tech grind.
Totally. Escaping the overlord, as the Luv Doc puts it.
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. We've got this letter from someone calling themselves the commish, like a fantasy football commissioner.
Right. And he wants advice because he's serious about ditching his, reliable corporate job to become a full-time writer.
He's already writing, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing. He does these weekly fantasy football recaps. They're apparently quite satirical.
Yeah, for his league members, who he calls a duodenary of bumbling cousins.
Okay, hang on. We need to pause there. Because the response we're looking at from the Luv Doc really picks up on that word, duodenary.
Meaning 12. Yeah. It's deliberately fussy language.
Right. Pedantic, maybe a bit theatrical. And that seems to be the commish's style, and maybe why he thinks he has a shot. It shows he can handle that specific kind of satirical voice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's his ticket out, he hopes. Quit the job, write full-time. Apparently his grandmother's also pushing him.
Yeah, the obligated grandmother. But he asks for a roadmap, and what he gets back from the Luv Doc is, well, it's not exactly encouraging.
Not at all. It's this incredibly detailed, really quite cynical take on why that dream is probably doomed. The Luv Doc basically says, good luck, writing is one of the hardest ways imaginable to escape tech. So that's our mission today. Unpack that pessimism. Why is writing seen as this impossible path? And crucially, how does this one person's career hope connect to, well, huge critiques of American politics, education, the whole economic system?
It's like the Luv Doc sees this personal dream and immediately says, okay, that's a symptom of a much bigger problem.
Exactly. That framing, one of the most insanely difficult ways to do it, it's blunt, but it sets up this wider analysis.
It really does.
Yeah.
And the Luv Doc doesn't just say it's hard. It compares trying to make a living writing to like putting songs on Spotify hoping to get rich.
Or trying to be a full-time digital creator on Facebook.
Yeah, that hits home. It makes you think about these creative paths differently.
Right. The Luv Doc seems to see them less as viable careers and more like gig economy traps. You're swapping one kind of corporate machine for another, maybe even less reliable one.
One that pays pennies unless you're like a massive star.
And requires constant self-promotion. It suggests the problem isn't the individual's talent, it's the system itself. Value just pools at the very top.
And before getting to the economic root of why that value pools at the top, the Luv Doc takes these interesting kind of politically charged detours.
Yeah, providing context for this societal frustration, uses that same fancy vocabulary, talks about spending a duodenary of years, 12 years, in Oklahoma public schools.
And that's where the critique really starts. He claims Oklahoma is, quote, racing to the bottom of the stupidity barrel.
Blames the voters and specifically calls out a former state school superintendent, Ryan Walters.
And gets really specific, which is interesting given the commission's satirical style. Definitely. He mentions Walters went to Harding University, calls it a Division II school in Arkansas, then adds this aside. Hot tip, Okies hate Arkies.
Right. So the Luv Doc frames Walters' election less as policy and more as a kind of political middle finger.
Yeah, calls it a huge fuck you to public education. Only thing worse, apparently, is Abbott's school vouchers in Texas.
Which leads right into the next tangent, Texas politics. The Luv Doc mentions spending a quinquennium, 5 years, sort of slacking off at New T. Austin.
40 acres, yeah. But what's interesting, there's this moment of almost self-critique.
Saying his generation really shit the bed as guardians of democracy.
Exactly, acknowledging some collective failure. And that kind of sets up the main political argument, which seems to be that the whole political environment is basically designed to protect the powerful, the same corporate overlords. The commish wants to flee.
Right. So just reporting neutrally on the Luv Doc's argument here, the Luv Doc claims suburban voters bought into devious bullshit from figures like Dan Patrick, Ken Paxton, Greg Abbott, and Don Juan Trump, as he calls him.
And the argument presented is that these leaders successfully shift blame for high costs. Health insurance, taxes, even eggs.
They blame it on, quote, dog-eating illegal immigrants and Antifa.
Right. So the Luv Doc's point is that this is a total misdirection, a political trick to hide the real structural problems, which brings us finally to the economic core of the argument.
Holy crap. You're psychotically obsessed with the Luv Doc, but can't think of a flashy gauche way to share your obsession with the world? Stop thinking and make a beeline for the Luv Doc's home sweet home on the interwebs, thepleasurecraft.com, where you can find a veritable treasure trove of sick merch that will make even your coolest friends super gel. Honestly, I don't know why you didn't already think of this yourself, but you're welcome. Have fun on the Pleasure Craft. It was made just for you. Let me spell it out for you one more time. www.thepleasurecraft.com.
The real villain, according to the Luv Doc,
The corporate elite.
and their power was basically locked in by that Supreme Court ruling, Citizens United.
Yeah, that's presented as the moment everything changed. The Luv Doc argues it, quote, essentially handed the American electoral process over to billionaires and corporations.
Not just a legal detail, but the foundation for why things are so tough for someone like the commish.
Okay, let's unpack that connection for the listener. The idea is, once corporations have that level of political control,
Their economic priorities shift, right?
Yeah.
Less about shared prosperity.
Exactly. The Luv Doc claims they're not seeming to be too interested in spending a lot of money to expand the middle class. Why would they be if they control the rules?
So they focus on consolidating their own wealth and power instead.
Creates this bottleneck. And the Luv Doc uses some pretty dark humor here, saying these powers can barely cough up enough blue-collar manufacturing jobs to keep the fentanyl market afloat.
Wow. That is a stark assessment.
Mm-hmm.
Suggests creating stable work just isn't the priority anymore.
It's a really scathing take. Now, you could ask, is this hyperbole, blaming everything on one court case? Maybe.
Fair enough.
But the underlying point the source is hammering is this visible concentration of wealth alongside declining middle-class security. That's the reality the commish is up against.
And that environment produces the real enemy, according to this piece.
And it's not who you might think. It's not the politicians, not the immigrants.
It's the tech itself. The Luv Doc says workers should be angry at the robots being manufactured by their corporate tech overlords.
Which is deeply ironic, right? Because the commish works in corporate tech. He's helping build his own replacement, potentially.
And these robots, these soulless automatons, are described as the perfect employees.
Perfect from a corporate perspective, yeah.
Why perfect? Well, besides efficiency, the Luv Doc points out they don't have human failings. They show up early.
And crucially, they never fuck around on company time setting their fantasy football lineups.
Ouch. That hits close to home for the commish. It does. The robots represent the corporate ideal. Maximum efficiency, zero human messiness. They make those witty, time-consuming fantasy recaps look completely unproductive from a bottom-line perspective. So this connects right back to why writing is so hard. As automation eats up more jobs, manufacturing, admin, maybe even some creative tasks,
The pool of what's left shrinks. Creative fields feel like one of the last places for humans to offer unique value.
which makes the commission's escape attempt feel even more urgent. Like, if you're not an oligarch, you better be incredibly uniquely human.
And his particular skill, satire, is actually positioned as maybe one of the last defenses we have.
Really, that's the silver lining.
It's a tiny glimmer. The Luv Doc admits that right now, robots are shitty at satire.
Okay, why? What's so hard about satire for an AI?
Well, think about it. It needs cultural context, irony, understanding emotion, connecting seemingly random things in a critical way. AI still struggles with that deep, nuanced understanding.
So the commission's ability to write those clever, slightly obscure recaps actually demonstrates something uniquely human, a critical way of thinking.
For now. But the warning is stark.
Yeah, the Luv Doc says give it a few years and the robots might just go completely Jonathan Swift on us.
Turning that satirical critique back on the now jobless, homeless cat eaters, that's a pretty chilling image.
Suggesting even our creativity, our critical humor, might eventually be automated and weaponized against us.
So the whole piece is this massive warning sign. The commish is basically trying to fight this giant, automated, politically backed economic system with witty prose.
So after laying all that out, all these massive obstacles, what's the final advice? Just give up.
Not quite. It ends with this burst of pure, unadulterated American irony.
Okay. Despite everything, the Luv Doc signs off with this sarcastic pep talk. I believe in you, you are American, and Americans are exceptional.
Oh, wow.
We are all billionaire oligarchs in our hearts, and the hope isn't just creative freedom.
No. What is it then?
The hope is that the writing becomes the vessel that delivers you your mega yacht.
Ha. So success is only measured by becoming one of the oligarchs you were trying to escape. That's deeply cynical.
It perfectly captures that tension, doesn't it? The personal dream versus these huge systemic forces.
Yeah. It forces you to ask, what does making it even mean in this context? If genuine creative freedom and middle-class stability are off the table, then maybe the only option left, as the Luv Doc sarcastically implies, is aiming for the mega yacht, or at least pretending to, which circles back to that temporary defense, satire. The Luv Doc suggests it's one of the last things robots can't do well, for now.
Right. The Luv Doc warns they could become devastatingly satirical like Jonathan Swift. So here's the thought to chew on. If robots are learning that fast, and our last edge is creative, critical thought, what specifically about satire needs to stay human? Is it the shared cultural understanding, the genuine moral outrage, the emotional core behind the joke?
Exactly. What makes the commission's witty commentary different from something an AI could generate is feeling the unfairness, the absurdity, the only thing that truly separates us.
Something to think about maybe next time you're staring at that spreadsheet.
To read the column that spawned this podcast, go to austinchronicle.com/columns/the Luv Doc. There are probably worse things to do with your time, right?